Hi, I'm Ashley Goodchild and welcome to the PM Collective podcast, where I invite you to listen to opinions and stories that are relevant in the property management world. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Today, I am joined with Oscar D'Souza from the agency and Ella from Platinum Property Co. to have a chat about growing a portfolio and BDM handover options, which I thought was a really great topic to discuss in this current climate, because I think a lot of us are seeing a lot of growth in the Perth market. And one thing that I actually really, for personal reasons only, one thing that I do lack at is the BDM handover process. I do it. I think it frustrates my property managers. I don't think I've really got it right at the moment. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on that. So a recent course that we did about, that I did with Dave Clare the other day, was talking about evolving as a business and not just growing. So it's really important, and something I'm focusing on is making sure that the growth that we've had lately, which has been really great, that we have the ability in the office to manage that and tweak anything that we need to evolve as a business as we grow bigger. So let's go to Ella. What size rent roll are you managing at the moment, and where are you finding your main leads are coming through, and are there any strategies that you are actively doing in your business to grow your portfolio?
So at the moment I'm on just over 160 properties. A majority of that is from referrals, because I've obviously been in the industry for quite a long time. I do have quite a good referral network. So most of them have come from referrals. At the very start of the agency, I was sort of doing a lot of prospecting and I was taking on whatever I could get. And now that the agency's, just over a year old and it has grown, I'm realizing that probably wasn't, as much as it served its purpose, those are the properties now that are taking up, 80% of my time, and I gave them the cheaper fees, and I gave them because I just wanted to get them on board. And now, they're the owners that don't want to fix things, and they're the owners that don't want to, do that side of things. So yeah, I've definitely learnt my lesson from that, which I think everybody does at some stage in their career. But yeah, so 160.
That's excellent. Is that in 12 months?
Just over 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've grown from 0 to 160.
Yeah.
That is outstanding.
That is phenomenal. That's really, really great. Well done.
Probably the best I've heard.
Yeah.
Well done. That is outstanding.
That is really, really awesome. You should actually advertise that a lot more. I never knew that. And that's, that's
outstanding.
It's only, I started in the beginning of the financial year, last financial year. So it's just over.
Even if you did that in 2 years, it's outstanding. So that is phenomenal. Well done.
Yeah, that's really fabulous. So referrals is a really main part. Is there anything that you're doing if we go into like Google ads, social media, with your SEO and stuff like that? Is there anything in particular that you focus on?
I'm starting to now. So when I first started the business, I started with obviously no property, so I didn't have any income coming in, and I was a single mum with no job because this was my full-time job. So I couldn't pay for Facebook ads. I couldn't pay for any kind of advertising like that. So now, though, that it's grown, I've just started experimenting, I guess you would call it, with Facebook ads and SEO and, all of, I think my phone listens to me because I keep having ads pop up of people who are experts and all of that kind of thing. And I'm, trying to learn about it all. So I'm really experimenting at the moment. So I can't say that anything definitely works, because I'm kind of, just learning, I guess, about all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I experiment a lot, and for me, with my growth strategy, it's mine is again mainly referrals, which is good, but I try to be a little bit active on every platform. Sometimes I'm a little bit more active on more platforms. Like right now, I love LinkedIn, but I find that for me, it's the relationship building. So whenever I meet with somebody or have a new appraisal or just have someone that I meet, I always friend them on LinkedIn. And then because I'm active there, I make sure that I I maintain that relationship. So I'm not a caller. Like, I don't want to sit there and call people and hassle them all the time, but I just want them to see me online. So I find that then at least they see me all the time. So my conversion rate's very good because they feel like they know me when I go out to do their appraisals. So that's a big thing for me. I've just started getting some new business through Instagram, which is interesting because that's my creative outlet. But that has come from local businesses where I try to support quite a lot. And, I had a local business just the other day say, I'll call you soon because I want you to look after my property. So that's pretty cool. And then, just for me, it's just creating those relationships. But I don't have targets. Like, I just do me, and I just, if I get lots of properties 1 month, great, take myself out to, Macca's for dinner or something. And if I don't, it's no big drama either because my business is for lifestyle and kids and things like that. And that's what's important to me. So that is my growth. But I do feel that sometimes, like, I should be a little bit more less ad hoc and just be a little bit more focused on an actual plan of how many managements do I want to get, how am I going to get them, how many appraisals do I need to do, and I'm not that type of person. So for me, I like to be a little bit everywhere. I'm just experimenting with Google ads at the moment. So I'm investing $300 a month into it, and I'm actually noticing a massive influx with new managements from Google ads. So I've never done that before. So for me, I'm really noticing that. So that's working for me. I am caught up with a friend who's telling me a bigger agency in Perth, she's spending $1,000 a month. So that's, I give figures because I want people to sort of know what people are spending. So like I spend $300 a month for that. A large agency would spend $1,000 a month. Social media, I would probably spend maybe like no more than $100 a month for Facebook. But that's experimenting with it. And that is all I spend on advertising and growth. Are you happy to share how much you would spend roughly on Facebook?
Yeah, so I've just only, and this was pretty much in the last week that I've started doing this, is with Facebook ads. So I've set the budgets at $200 per ad, and then I've been experimenting over I've figured out 4-day period is probably best. And I've realized there's all different when you post the ad. There's all you can get leads through it, or you can do market locally, and each different thing that you pick changes your what you get and how many people you reach. So I've just been experimenting with that, but it's difficult, I think, because even the leads that I'm getting in, I haven't, they don't leave phone numbers, or they just leave an email, and I don't know how good of a quality that really is. And I don't know, it's really making me question if it's even really worth it, because I think it's more brand awareness.
I was exactly going to say brand awareness, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's same with Facebook, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I see that more as brand awareness. I see that more as you've already seen the client, and then they just want to have a little stalk to see if you're actually known, because people who are looking for a new property manager, as we're in the industry, so we think about it all the time. We follow everybody, but people who aren't in this industry, they don't know about property managers. So if you go meet with them, they catch up with you, they might think, oh yeah, I'll just have a look at their Google reviews. I'll just have a look at their Instagram. And then if you're active on there, they'll think, oh yeah, that's a great person. But if they go look for you and they can't find any Google reviews, they can't find you on Instagram, they can't find you on Facebook, then that's, then they're going to, red flags, I think, will start coming up of, oh, is this person even, that good? Should I not be finding someone else? So I think I'm starting to realize that it's not a waste of time. All social media is not a waste of time. And yes, it's good to invest money into it. But I think that you should be doing it not specifically to get business out of it. It's more of a backup, not
like your follow-up.
Follow-up, not what you should be relying on to bring in managements.
Yeah, no, I absolutely totally agree with that. And I guess if I was to pick an absolute source of new clients coming through, so not maybe it's brand awareness, I don't know, but I was just going to say like the Google, definitely ad spend, I'm noticing the difference. Google reviews I always focus on, but again, that's like a follow-up. But REA, or realestate.com, I do reckon that that's a source of business from the point of view that when a landlord first decides they want to rent out their property, most would naturally go on to, and I know realestate.com, well, they give me the shits because they are expensive, but, we've got to be on it because that's where all my inquiries come from. But at the end of the day, landlords are going to look on realestate.com, see how much they can get for their property before, they call somebody. And if they see you at the top of the list, then they will call you because they can see you've got properties in the area. So, but it's funny because really, the person that has leased all their properties and doesn't have anything available and they're doing a great job, they're actually not on realestate.com and they're the ones that you want to be calling as well. So it's a bit...
Well, yeah. I know realestate.com don't allow you to do this, but I do this. I put leased on the front photo. Yeah. I put leased. And I have paid for banner ads on realestate.com before, but they... no.
Do you know what? I never recommend them because they say something like 68% of people look at realestate.com on their phone and those banner ads don't come up.
They do now.
Oh, do they come up? Oh,
they've changed it. Yeah.
I have to check.
They do now. But yeah, I think if you put leased, I have got managements that way before, especially in apartment blocks or townhouses where, the next door neighbour's thinking about renting. And I don't even use signs. I've never, and that wasn't even a conscious thing to do. When I set up the business, I said, when I need a sign, I'll make one. I've never needed it. So I've never made one. Still, if someone wants a sign, I'll make one. But I haven't to this day needed one at all. So I think everything is online and as much as you can, I think keep your ad up there. So it looks like, but without getting annoyed because there's so many inquiries at the moment. You need to make sure that they know it's not available anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Oscar.
I am still getting over how good you have gone in just over 12 months. Honestly, that is phenomenal. 160 properties in a bit over 12 months. And now to learn that you haven't really done too much advertising for it and it's all been networking, that is outstanding. So well done again. The other two things that I would say about building a rent roll with my background, I guess, in doing that, and it's also... even when I did what I did, so mine went from zero to about 370 properties in just under 4 years. So it's nothing astronomical, but I think it's pretty reasonable all the same. And even at the time that I was doing that, it wasn't like a big, massive driving focus of mine. And if I did it today, it would look a lot different and I would hopefully do it better.
Be like Ella.
Be like Ella, yeah, exactly. I'll be coming to Ella and say, Ella, what can you teach me? Because that is amazing. It absolutely is. The two big things for me is the first thing is point of difference. You've got to have a point of difference as to why people are going to call you. So far as real estate sales is concerned, every man and his dog's out there, social media advertising and all that. So it's probably a bit of a harder thing to have a point of difference. Property management might be a little bit easier, I guess, in terms of having a point of difference. But for me, and also the success of my rent roll as well, was based on its point of difference. And when I built mine, I knew that all the other agencies were typical sales-based agencies, and I was the only one in the area that wasn't. I was a dedicated property management business. So I made sure, and that obviously was my point of difference, and I told everyone. I actually used a lot of radio advertising, didn't use much social media at the time, but in terms of my point of difference, I was very clear, and every single person that walked through my office door or rang me basically said, you're the guys that only do rentals, or you guys don't do sales, do you? They were all, and I knew my point of difference was working, so I just got louder and prouder with that, and it worked to a big treat. The other thing, whilst I'm listening to you ladies talk as well, is whatever marketing it is that you end up going with, the consistency of what it is that you're doing is really, really important. And that's consistency in terms of the type of advertising, but also how frequent you're doing it. There's no point starting a marketing plan and after the first couple of weeks going, stuff that. There's no point continuing. You've got to be consistent. You've got to continue with it as well, because I think it is somewhere between 8 and 10 times is the number of times people need to see your brand in all the different places, on the seat ads, on the back of a bus, on social media, in the letterbox, on LinkedIn, wherever it might be. And if they just keep seeing all these, or your brand or your face in all these different spots, and like you said before, Ella, it's very much brand awareness. It's not a call to action thing because people don't think about it as much as what we do. The other thing being is that even when they do think about it in property management, often they might have a management authority or a contract with another person, which prevents them from doing business with you for 6 months or something like that anyway. But if your advertising is consistent and you just become a bit of a household name, come the time that their property manager pisses them off just one more time and they get to the end of their management authority, they're going to be sitting there going, who's that person? Who's that one I've been seeing on the signs or on LinkedIn or whatever? And then when they finally get to meet you, you're meeting them for the first time and going, nice to meet you. They're looking at you going, I know you already. And that's a big, big step, a real positive step in where your relationship goes from that point. So point of difference, and I've mentioned to you, Ash, before, a couple of weeks ago, in terms of BDMing and social media and having that brand presence, which is SOCO, but also you being the brand, I don't see anyone in WA doing it the way that you do it. You do it exceptionally well, and I really mean that. I'm not saying that because you're sitting beside me. I said that to you.
Squeezing your arm?
Yeah. I said that to you a couple of weeks ago.
No, yeah, that's kind. Thank you.
But yeah, no, certainly the consistency as well. Don't give up after 1 month, because if you give up after 1 month, you probably should never have started, because that 1 month might not be the month when someone's looking for you or your point of difference or your brand or your service. And if you give up after that 1 month, it's probably not worth starting, because they need that consistency over a longer period of time.
And I love that your point of difference was a decent point of difference, because the amount of people that like to say their point of difference is honest and transparent service with an online client portal is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's not different.
It's not different. And I know I keep on mentioning Dave Clare, but I just got so much out of his course. But he said, when you talk about visions and stuff of a business, and, it might be honesty, integrity, and all of that. That's just a given. That's just an entry of, he calls it an entry of service. That's an entry of service. That's not anything special. Like, you should be doing that anyway if you're in business. Yeah. So my point of difference would be that we are 83% hyperlocal to South Perth, and I don't think any other agency in South Perth can say that they are more than 83%. So we've got a very high ratio there. We used to be able to say that, we're the only agency with an actual property manager director, but we have got a few now, and that's obviously becoming more of a popular thing, so I can't use that. But I do focus for me on that hyperlocal. I think we've got the highest percentage in my area for that. So I think, it's important to know that definitely when going into new managements. Now, tell me, guys, about your handover, because I think that I do it wrong. So so I go out and I do my listing and my appraisal, and I get the authority, and then I've got a special little checklist that I put on there with things that need to be done. And then I used to lease it and then give it all to the property manager, and then my property managers are control freaks and like, Ash, I want to know who's living in the property that I'm going to be managing. So then I now get the authority signed. I introduce the owner and the property manager together, hand over the authority, and then the property manager leases it and starts the process. I think it's going okay, but sometimes I will be honest and say that I have to be very careful with the expectations that I set, and with price and just with things at the start with the client, that I've translated them properly through to the property manager. So sometimes, like, I've got one at the moment, and I just thought it was the cutest house I've ever seen. It was like a little 1980s. It's on Canning Highway. Like, I love it. Like, I just thought it was cute as it's going to attract a single female. And I was really excited about it and, put a price on it. And then the property manager went out there and just went, I don't know what you're talking about, but you always seem to, see the glass half full, Ash. And I was like, but it's really cute, isn't it? She goes, well, I don't know what's cute about it. What's cute about the mission brick, feature wall or something? I was like, yeah. And so we both had a different idea and expectation of the property. She's like, you're not going to get what you said you're going to get for it. I was like, really? Because I saw it with the owner's furniture in it and how she lived in it and how she loved her house so much. And then a property manager's gone in and seen an empty 2-bedroom villa and gone, I don't know what you're carrying on about. So the expectation there was different. And then we've obviously then have to have the hard conversation with the owner to say, well, actually, we might not get what we originally said for it. So I think I fail on that handover. Sometimes I do get owners at my new appraisals where they really want to meet the property manager before they make a decision because that's who they're going to be dealing with. Most of the time, people are comfortable with the fact that I'm active, I'm there, I'm always available. So they have that security with me and they trust me enough to know that I would only give them someone good to look after their property. So it's okay that way. But yeah, just every now and then I get people, and then it makes me wonder, should I be getting the property manager to go out and do these BDM appointments if that's who they're dealing with? Like, I don't know. But I mean, Ella, of course, for you're doing your BDM appointments. So,
I am, yeah. So it's easy for me, to be fair.
You write yourself a checklist and
it's very easy for me. I can say whatever I want, and as long as I know I can back it up, it's fine.
Of course.
You know, I think, but obviously the scalable, no. You know, one day I will have to hand that over, and then I probably will have to draw back a little bit because sometimes I know, you know, if I say, you know, yes, $500 a week, and even in my head I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to work really hard to get that. But I know that I can. I'm just going to have to really show up. If I get an inquiry, I have to make that person go there that day. Whereas if you handed that over to, you know, a property manager who's already busy, then maybe they're not going to work that hard. So for me, I don't have that problem because I don't need to really do that handover. But I think that it is just about setting those expectations with that landlord, I guess, and making sure that you don't obviously promise things that you can't deliver. And if you do make those promises, then maybe just make sure that you see them through and maybe be more involved in that leasing process if you've, you know, made that sort of promise, and just be, you know, make sure that they're, you know, always are able to come to you because you're the one who signed them up at the end of the day. So I guess there's a lot of complaints. I mean, when I was in other agencies, there was a lot of complaints between BDMs and property managements, and there was that real kind of divide because, you know, they're bringing on these properties, maybe they're not cleaned properly, and the BDM's just signing them up because they've got to get 10 that month or they're, you know, in trouble. So they'll just take on anything. So it's really just setting, you know, those expectations between each other and making sure that, you know, you're communicating well, and if there's something that's being said to the landlord, it's been seen through.
Excellent. Oscar, what do you think of my BDM handover? Is there a way I can fix it?
I don't think it's broken.
No, you think it's all right?
Yeah. I absolutely think it's fine. What it was that you just said, and I really like everything that Ella just said as well. I think it's bang on. It's a different scenario that I've got at the moment. When I look back at my BDM days when I was building my own rent roll, it was a bit similar to yours, except it got to a point really quickly that I then wasn't going to be managing the properties myself. My process was a little bit similar to yours. I would go out there, win the listing, get the verbal agreement, and knew that it was in my hand and it wasn't going anywhere. I didn't even do the MA. I had a one-page A4 piece of paper, and I had my little checklist, and I wrote, this is the name of the person, this is the property, this is what I told in terms of the rent and all that sort of stuff. And I basically, I don't have to look at that, can I?
No, you keep talking, yeah.
You're
not a very good multitasker, are you?
I'm really bad at it. I can hold the pen and talk, and that's about it.
But you can't hold the pen, talk, and have a photo taken.
No way.
I can't remember that.
I'm a bloke. Yes. Anyway, and so with me, the way that it worked with me is that I literally just went, and I'm not going to look at the camera, I just filled out like a one-page A4 thing, and I dropped it on my PM's desk with the RP data printout. And do you want me to look at it? I'm not going to look at it. I dropped it with the RP data printout, and then that was it. I didn't even really have any, I didn't do the leasing, I didn't get the MA signed or anything like that. So I thought that I was pretty good at relationships, and so I managed to get the deal done. And I thought I was okay at relationships. I got the deal done, and then I handed it to my next really good relationship person as well, which was a little bit like me. And then she just picked it up from that point and said, hey, Oscar's, just told me about the discussion. That place sounds great. So this is what we've agreed. When can we get a time to sign up the MA? And then took it over, did the leasing, and took over the management from that. What you said before, Ellen, I think you touched on it as well, Ash, making sure that the people that I bring into our office, in terms of the expectations and the promises, but in terms of making sure that they know that I'm always available. I might not talk to them every day, and the property manager is, but I'm always available. They can call me anytime after 5 on the weekend, whatever it is. And if there is a problem, I'll help them solve it. So they were happy with that. And occasionally a call did come in that I needed to get involved. But in the main, it was just handed over to my next really good relationship person. And that's why my pod system worked really, really, really well.
Well, and I just thought of something that I have done recently, which actually is probably should keep doing, is that once I've secured the management and owners emailed me and said, yep, go ahead, get the paperwork through. And I've emailed the paperwork through to them because, I tend to do that then face-to-face straight away. The client, I say to them, come in, have a read of the authority and then, bring it into the office with your sets of keys. And at that point, when they come in, we go through the authority together, make sure they understand it all. And I get the property manager to be there at the same time. And so then the three of us, I introduce the property manager and say, listen, this is what we had a discussion about, this is what the owner's still doing, and we sort of do have a little bit of a discussion together before and then they sign it and then they've met the property manager to deal forward. So I probably need to enforce that because that I've done for the last 2 authorities and that's actually worked out quite well.
Yeah, so I reckon that sounds really, really good. And it's not all that common that the BDM person would get to meet with the owner and the property manager all in the one room. I don't know how much better you can do than that. I think it's absolutely spot on. With my office at the moment, we've got a very good BDM out there signing up business left, right and centre.
That's Ali?
Yeah.
She's great, isn't she?
She's an absolute gun. So she's really good at what she does.
Yeah.
In fact, and I've told her, if you want to watch someone who does BDM really good, watch what Ash does. It is a bit of a challenge for her because she then has to work out where the business is, who's going to be a good property manager that's going to be a good match for that person. Her process is that she'll get all the paperwork done, all the advertising done, and she'll attend the first leasing of it, or the first home open rather. And at that point in time, I think she'll take our leasing guy, because we've got a separate leasing guy. So he'll go along to that first home open as well and get familiar with the property. If possible, maybe the property manager will go along as well. So bearing in mind I'm new in my office, so I have to figure out what's going to be the best system for our office. But what you said in terms of what you do, Ash, I think that's absolutely bang on. I can't think of a better way to do it, where you, who won the business and brings in the relationship, is sitting there with the person and your property manager, and that can be a really, really good discussion. I don't know how to make that better.
Great.
Oh, sorry, I do.
Yeah, go.
The only other thing that I would say is make sure that you've got a touch point at some point in the future, whether it's 2 weeks down the track, after the lease is signed, whatever it might be. So you can put in a phone call, you can send some flowers or whatever it might be, but you put in a phone call, a bit of a touch point and say, hey, Helen's just told me in the office that you've agreed to lease at $450 a week. Are you happy with that? Like, that's even a bit better than what we thought. Just engage in some more conversation and you'll find out very quickly whether they're happy or not happy with the service. So it's another touch point that you've got.
I like that. That's excellent. Very good tip. Wonderful. Well, again, thank you for joining me. If you want to reach out with myself or Oscar or Ella, feel free to on any of our social media and look forward to connecting with you all soon.